Dead by Daylight's new 2 vs 8 mode is the best thing that has happened to the game. It's extremely fun, extremely chaotic, and it has an insane amount of potential to become better. So let's talk about the best parts of this game mode and also take a look at the potential flaws that are hopefully fixed in the future. And one of the things I would like to talk the most is the fact that this game mode is surprisingly very balanced compared to 1 vs 4, which was completely unexpected, as the majority of us thought that this mode would be pure chaos, and there are various factors that show just how unbalanced and problematic the original Dead by Daylight is. First of all, the number of killers is limited to only 5, so it's easier to play against them compared to the 36 we have in the game. There are also no add-ons whatsoever to modify the powers of these killers, so you know how their powers work, and there is no RNG or knowledge element attached to it either. For survivors, it's the same deal. They all have 4 classes to choose from instead of the pick 4 perk system we have in the original game mode. So no decisive strikes, no life, no pain resonances or no it. Survivors can't bring items either, so there are no brand new parts, busted toolboxes or insta-heal medkits. Finally, there are only 5 maps to choose from. Again, there are no map offerings that benefit one side extremely, like Batham or Eyrie of Crows. All maps are designed with extra loops and palettes to accommodate for the 8 survivors there are, and as of now, there are no indoor maps either, so killers like the Huntress and Hillbilly are also not hindered by RNG. This, in my opinion, shows that the real reason Dead by Daylight is unbalanced is clearly because of the map's horrible design, which we have known for years, and additionally because of how the perks completely dictate the meta. However, this is not the only revelation that 2 vs 8 has shown us, as it's also revealed that Dead by Daylight simply doesn't have enough players to accommodate various game modes. If you have played as a killer, you would know how the queues take up to 20 minutes long in order to get into a match, and this was even worse at release when DbD was free for a weekend. However, these long queues are not exclusive to this game mode, as it's also affecting the original 1 vs 4. Before this release, it was really easy to get into a match in less than a minute, but now it can take around 5 minutes just to enter a match, which is an issue even for survivors. In a way, Behavior is suffering from success as they made a game mode so fun that everyone wants to play it, and it's so fun and refreshing that the majority will wait those 15 minutes to enter a 8-minute match. But this will hinder the game in the long run, especially because the devs said that they plan to make this mode permanent. So unless Behavior finds a way for a lot of players to play Survivor, the long queues will continue. And let's talk about the Survivor gameplay in this mode, as it's the most accessible there is, and in my opinion, this beats solo queue 1 vs 4 out of the water. First of all, since there are way more survivors, if one of them makes a mistake, it doesn't mean that the game is lost. This means that you could mess up more than in the original modes, as mistakes are not as punished. Killers cannot camp either, as once they cage a survivor, you are instantly teleported to the other side of the map, which can lead to very fast saves. Since there are no perks, you are also not hindered for not having the best choice at the start of the match, as you can choose various classes to accommodate your playstyle, and you also know what classes the other survivors are running. So no more trying to heal a plot twist. You know who is a medic and can heal you faster, and you know who is a runner and can give you a sprint burst. There is another unique effect which is only in this game mode, and that is the revealed status effect. Anytime your aura is revealed to the killers, you will get a sound effect and a notification on the right, which tells you that the killer can see you. This completely removes the guessing game of knowing if your aura is shown to the killer, and it's a more healthier version of distortion granted base kit for everyone. It's also harder to tunnel a survivor out of the match, as there are so many that keeping track of one is almost impossible and requires a lot of luck. It's also not the best way to win the match for killers, as spreading pressure is by far the easiest way to snowball into a win instead of dedicating your chases to one survivor. There are more pallets around the map, and since there are more survivors, if you are getting chased by a killer, it's easier to make them lose their time, which usually translates into gens being done. Probably the best part of Survivor is also the consistency of the matches. There are no add-ons to alter the timings of the killer's power, and there are no perks that you have to study in order to know their effects, like Unforeseen. Everything is consistent, and everyone is playing on the same level, so there is no pay-to-win shenanigans where one perk is clearly superior than the other. No need to listen to online classes in order to know how a killer power works and how it's countered. These are the classic 5 that most of us have played against for years, and it's significantly easier for a new player to get into the game. It's funny how a temporal game mode fixed two of my biggest issues with the game, which is the fact that it has pay-to-win elements and also that it's not beginner friendly at all. And this is not just my opinion. I have brought new players and returning players into this game mode, and it was significantly easier to explain this rather than having to explain how Sadako's power works in the middle of the match in order to prevent my friends from being condemned. This doesn't mean that this game mode is perfect, as I have found some flaws with it as a survivor, which are not that big of a deal, and I am sure the devs will fix with time, as this is just their first test. For starters, I think all survivors should be able to stand up by themselves from the ground in case they are slugged. As it is, there is no reason for a killer to slug other than when they find another survivor near someone they downed. Slugging is a core part of DbD whenever you need pressure, or whenever you try to counter a save or body blocks, but in this game mode, the pressure is caging survivors and there are no saves whatsoever. There have been cases of 2 killers slugging everyone in the match, which leads to a very boring game, and there are zero design reasons as to why this is not implemented into the game. All survivors should be unbreakable by default in this mode. Currently, you only get this once you are on your last hook, which is completely pointless if the killers don't ever hook you, and if you are on the last stage, there is no reason for a killer to not cage you. I don't care if this can be countered by good play for survivors, there is simply zero reason to have slugging in this game mode, as it's just a boring playstyle that should be punished in order to incentivize killers to cage. Now let's talk about the class system survivors have, as they can choose 1 out of 4 currently available, and there is a maximum of 4 per class in each match. Let's start with Escapist, which is objectively the strongest class by far in this mode, as it's the only class with an exhaustion perk, Sprint Burst, which is also given to your teammates so you could use it as a support or to help a survivor that is being chased to escape. It also gives you 2 of the most busted perks that have ever existed in the game, Windows of Opportunity, which allows you to know where the pallets and windows are, super useful in this game mode, and also made for this, as you have 3% extra haste while injured. So basically, you have 3 S tier perks as your loadout. This is still compensated by the fact that there are 2 killers in the match, so if one survivor is too good, you can just ask for help for your teammate to down them. The next class in terms of strength, in my opinion, is Scout. This is a more info-related class which is super busted when used right. For starters, you get Alert as one of the perks, which will reveal the aura of the killers anytime they perform a break action. It also gives you Urban Evasion for some reason, which is honestly not that useful. But then, it grants you the team skill of revealing the aura of the killers anytime you are looking at them. This means that you could be spying on a killer in order to reveal their aura for your teammates, which means wall hacks. It's extremely strong when used right, and it's also super strong whenever you are looping the killers, as it allows you to see them through walls temporarily, which helps in mind games. These 2 classes are the most used by far, and you will usually see 4 Escapists and 2 Scouts in each game mode due to how strong they are. Then we have the Guide class. As the name implies, it's a support build. First of all, it reveals the auras of generators to you, which can be nice, but it's not that good compared to the rest. It also gives you the Better Together perk partial effect, as anytime you repair a gen, your aura and the generator are revealed to the team. And finally, they have a perk which is similar to Technician and Bardic Inspiration, as you boost the bonus of great skill checks to your teammates, helping them repair faster if you keep hitting the whites, and also making the noises of repair be a little bit quieter. With a coordinated team, this class is a must, as it's the only way to gen rush properly. And finally, we have Medic, which is pretty simple. You have Empathy as a perk, which reveals the aura of injured survivors, you heal 35% faster, and you also boost the healing speeds of your allies anytime you are double teaming a survivor. This is sadly the weakest class, and I think one very good boost should be to make heal speed significantly faster and also have your aura revealed to injured survivors instead of the reverse. That way, they can come to you instead of running blindly all over the map to heal. And these are all the classes. In my opinion, it's a nice selection for the start, and I think adding more classes in the future would significantly help and make the game not as stale for survivors. My small issue with the class system is that there isn't a lot of variety compared to what you could do in 1 vs 4, and this could be easily fixed by adding more classes. Some of my ideas include a Booner class, based on characters like Michaela, Alan Wake or Yoichi. As it is right now, totems are completely useless and a waste of time to interact with. Instead, I think it would be cool if there was a boon class which revealed the aura of totems to you, allowed you to bless them faster, gave the effects of Shadow Step, Circle of Healing, Dark Theory and Illumination, and also revealed the aura of the killers anytime they break the boon. Killers would get Shattered Hope as base kit, so survivors cannot reboon the same totem constantly, making this class not as overpowered. This would be an interesting support class focused on making certain areas of the map stronger for your teammates. Another class I would like would be the Hero class, which is focused on being aggressive to the killers and inspired on characters like Jill, Ash Williams or David. You get a combination of Residual Manifest and Flashbang, as this class will allow you to craft flashbangs when you rescue a survivor, and also give the killers the blindness effect anytime you or any of your teammates 16 meters near you blind the killer by any means, which counters their innate passive aura reading skills. Finally, if they pallet stun a killer, the stun will be longer, to incentivize them to play as aggressive as possible. This class will make flashlights have a use, as currently there is no point of finding them in a chest since there are no saves. Then we have the Deceiver, which is focused on making the killers lose time with their mind games, and based on characters like Nia or Elodie. They will have Red Herring as one of their perks, the Pebble as well just to confuse the killers, and I think it would be really cool if they also got a buffed version of Mirrored Illusion, which will prevent the aura of any survivors 16 meters near the copy to be red. Instead, the aura of the illusion is revealed, so you can also play it as a support. This class will bring the Bamboozle playstyle, which a lot of survivors find fun, but is missing from this mode. The final class I thought about is a Trapper style class, inspired on Jake, Ridley and Lara Croft. This class would have Blast Mine as one of their perks, which combines well with the Hero class to give the killers blindness. Chemical Trap is another option they get, which allows them to make pallets even deadlier, and in order to allow your teammates to benefit from this perk, they also get any means necessary so they can lift up pallets after trapping them, or also to punish killers that don't break pallets. The point of these classes is to include extra interaction with the killers and with mechanics of the game that are already implemented into it, as I noticed that this is severely lacking in this game mode outside of the pure chase. I am sure that Behavior will implement more classes in the future which are more complex than the ones we currently have. And that's all for the survivor side. Let's talk about the killer side now. Playing with your friends in order to chase survivors is something we have wanted for years, and finally being able to do that just proves how fun this game is. At the start, there are only 5 killers available in this mode, which are the basic ones: Trapper, Wraith, Hillbilly, Nurse and Huntress. All of them receive changes in order to fit in this mode, and also all killers get a passive power which gives them 2 effects. The first is that anytime you start chasing a survivor, your teammate can see their aura as long as they are far away. The second is that they get nowhere to hide for free, so after kicking a gen, they see the auras of all survivors near. Additionally, regression is doubled to 200% instead of 100, and trust me, this is very noticeable, and it's great that this is the only gen regression ability. Trapper starts with 4 traps. There are more traps in the map and he sets them faster. His team power is that anytime he sets a trap, he and the teammate, in case they are near, will get a sprint burst of 3 seconds. Trapper's biggest flaw was always a slow start, but now that there is a teammate that can pressure survivors for you while you're setting up, Trapper shines a bit more. He is a support character, ready to set up at the start for a potentially huge payoff at the end, and making some strong loops like Shack easier for both you and your teammates. It's very satisfying to have one of the survivors your friend is chasing step into a bear trap, or the fact that killers like Wraith, Hillbilly or Huntress could potentially injure the trapped survivors before they escape. Wraith is an insane hybrid character, as he can work both as a support and an aggressive choice. He is faster while cloaked and gets uncloaked faster too, and his team power is giving your friend the undetectable status effect anytime they are near you, which is super strong with the Huntress, and it also completely counters the Scout class. Since you move around the map so fast, it's easy to patrol and tell your friend where the survivors are, and reveal them with your innate ability. Hillbilly is the character that changed the most, as now he's a support killer instead. Your chainsaw is insanely buffed, as you have the turn rate increased and a lot of other buffs, but now you cannot instantly down a survivor with it. Instead, your team power is to expose any survivors near your chainsaw sprint as long as you continue sprinting with it, which is super fun when you're on call with your friend. However, if you're playing solo with a random, Hillbilly is by far the worst killer in this mode, as you cannot coordinate well enough without voice comms. Huntress is the most fun character of this mode and potentially the second strongest, as her power is perfect for the chaos 8 survivors bring. She is buffed as she has 8 hatchets and reloads faster, and her team power is to reveal the aura of survivors hit by your hatchets. She can down survivors very fast, and since she is a ranged character, it's easy to support them from afar, unlike with the rest. Her small turn radius is also very interesting, as it catched me off guard various times in other matches. Finally, we have the nurse, which is the nurse, but for some reason the devs absolutely buffed everything about her, and her team power is to literally get an extra blink as long as you are near a teammate, which is exactly very busted. I genuinely believe that she needs a nerf, and there is no reason to buff her, as she and Blight are the only characters in my opinion that could compete against 8 survivors with no perks and no base kit changes. And this is a fantastic way to introduce and balance killers for this game mode. They will add more killers in the future. There are some which would require a drastic change to their powers in order to work, like Plague, Legion, Sadako or Oni. I am sure they will add the killers in order of release, and also not sure if they will add licensed killers, as I think this would require them to discuss this with license holders. If I could choose what killers they would add next, I would love to have the Clown, the Deathslinger, the Unknown, Leatherface, and the Hag. I think their powers would be very fun to play with in a 2 vs 8 situation, and they don't need much changes. Overall, I am very happy with this mode, and I think the amazing success it has proves that this is going to stay in the future. But truth be told, I am also worried. It's clear that there aren't enough players to make queue times comfortable for both sides, and I wouldn't want some survivors to become bots. It's clear that this game mode is the pure chaos and casual fun that we all chased for in DbD. It's not stressful, losing is fun, winning is fun, it's pure chaos. There is constantly something to do with no downtime. There are no busted perks or add-ons, no badly designed maps yet. There are no perks to study, no add-ons that can change a killer power like Tombstone Myers. This could be the casual game mode everyone has been asking for years, and make 1 vs 4 the ranked experience for tryhards that want to abuse broken mechanics or use the top killers with the best add-ons and builds. This could be what Zero Build was for Fortnite. But Behavior will need to find a solution to this problem before they implement it as a permanent mode. And sadly, I have no idea what they could do besides making the game free to play, which comes with the risk of hackers. A lot of players say that they should increase the survivor incentives, but this is in my opinion pointless, as we are not playing killer for blood points, we are playing it for fun. even if the reward is trash and the queues are long. Increasing it might add 10% extra players for survivors, but it's not going to drastically make all survivors play instead of killers. The truth is that there is simply not enough players to sustain the insane demand this new fun mode added. Anyways, I would love to hear your opinion on this. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.